Hi and welcome to In the Front Row, all things reactions, reviews and interviews.
My name is Jamie Lee and today I'm joined by local legend, Brizzy boy, Lincoln Lewis. Thanks for chatting with me today.
Thanks for chatting with me, and also love your name. That's my sister's name, so to my sister Jamie Lee, I love you, and to you, I love you.
The love is all around, the Jamie Lees are great, we got it. I want to go back to way back in the day when you decided to take on the career of acting.
Yeah.
So what actor or what movie do you think made you want to get into this?
That's a good question. To be honest, I wish I knew. As a kid, I remember, as a lot of us do, we watch something and we think how cool that would be to do that. You know, where you think, love to sort of fly around like Iron Man or whatever it may be. Watching that and go, that would be amazing. And then I don't know exactly when in like my childhood, but I remember Mum said I'd always come to her and say, I want to do that thing that they do. I want to do that acting thing. And she's like, all right, well, then you might have to try this. And I think as a primary school kid, I was a bit undisciplined because all I wanted to do was play footy and hang with my mates and stuff like that. But then when I turned 13, I thought, I really want to give this a go.
Yeah.
So I started doing like weekend workshops, and I didn't tell anyone at school. I'd just go do acting workshops on the side and do little commercials here and there. And when I was like 15, 16, but do extra work for shows like the Sleepover Club, H2O, Mortified, stuff like that. But I don't really know exactly what it was that was the catalyst for me going, that's what I want to do. I know I've always loved it, but I can't actually find out where X marks the spot.
And it was a long time ago, let's be honest.
Look,
13 years old deciding that's what you want.
Yeah. And look, anyone that knows me knows that the sharpest tool in the shed. So, so specificity when it comes to stuff like that. Look, I really wish that would be really cool. Like figuring out exactly when, because that would like getting to meet someone going, hey, you're the reason I got into this would be really sick. But yeah, I guess I'm just taking away that I've always loved being in this, always wanted to be in it, and since I've been in it, I've always loved it.
Yeah, awesome. And so let's go back to that 13 years old. You were 13, you said, look, this is what I want to do. How did that conversation go down with someone like your dad? Because I picture your dad, who is a sporting icon, the king himself, Wally Lewis, and was he sort of like, put down the remote, pick up the footy, or were your parents really welcoming to your career choice? Well,
I remember talking to Mum about it more so, and Mum is the most encouraging person in the world, and beautiful. Most loving, and just full of support. So Mum was the one that was always driving me to my auditions and saying, that's what you want to do, as long as you're happy, that's all that matters. I think it was one of those things where I was raised in a household where where it was, if you want to do something and you put your heart and soul into it, we couldn't be happier. Yeah. And that was always thankfully the thing that us as kids had, is just put your heart and soul into it. But I remember sort of more so confiding in Mum about that kind of stuff and letting her know, and she was always the one driving me down after school, and then when I'd sit in the car after an audition, she'd be like,
how did it go?
How did you go? And how did you feel? And none of that stage parent thing.
Yeah.
She's like, if you do it, great. If you don't want to do it, great. Yeah. Are you happy? That's what I care about. So as long as she saw a smile on her son's face, and this is back in the day where there was no self-tapes. There was no, if you wanted to put a self-tape down, you'd record it onto a VHS, and then you'd mail it to wherever you needed to do.
Yeah, we're talking about ancient times here, guys. Yeah.
So Mum was always the one driving me down to Movie World to do an audition from Brizzy, or like into West End where Ben Parkinson casting was. It was a mish just for a single audition, which 9.9 times out of 10 you're not going to get. So that's something I'll forever be thankful for. But yeah, look, I growing up with a sporting old man and everything like that, it was always something that you'd always get. Whenever you'd be on the football field, they go, you're not as good as your dad, or what. But we never really thought anything like that.
Yeah.
And it's really cool because my brother's in radio.
Yeah.
My sister's a sports person of the family who is a beast.
Yeah.
She's a weapon.
Yeah.
But we never really felt that pressure.
Yeah, good.
To sort of follow in that sporting footsteps. It was just kind of, thankfully, yeah, whatever makes you happy, go for it.
Yeah. Oh, that's really good. And I see I know you said you've been in a lot of shows like H2O and things like that previously, but what really kicked off your stardom is Home and Away.
Yeah.
You know, working on that. And we've had so many actors that have started on that and have made it into Hollywood. I mean, Hemsworth, Isla Fisher, Brenton Thwaites, I think was on it.
Yep.
So many who are now Hollywood big names.
Yeah.
Who out of the Hollywood big names is somebody that you haven't worked with that you would like to? Because you've worked with Will Smith, that is my... Yeah. He is just the top of the top for me, acting-wise.
He is the man. Look, before I answer that, Will Smith, I've got to say, is just the ultimate, like, motivating professional on set. Like, you know, I remember, so I hung out with Jaden a lot, and when we were done shooting, they were always saying, when you get back to LA, come over. And so whenever I touched down, Jaden would be the first to message me, you're in town, come over, bro.
Wow.
And I remember, I'd drive over, I'd go into the front door, and mind you, like, this is going through the security and all that kind of stuff. On the front door, and I remember this one time, Jaden was upstairs with his two best mates and his cousin, and I walked through, and the security dude was walking me in. He said, just hang here for a sec, and I can hear Will in the kitchen. And he just walks around, he's like, Will, excuse me, Will, Lincoln's here. And I just hear, oh, what's up, Link? And then all of a sudden, Will just comes around, he's like, how you doing, man? And like, just brings me in, and I was like, you know, it's just the coolest thing, because and the first time and then anyway, he says, you know, Jaden's upstairs, just cruise up. So I went up, hung out with Jaden, but the first time I ever met him was on set of After Earth, and I was talking to the Sergeant Major, who was the guy teaching us all the military stance, walks, all that kind of stuff. And as casual as just saying, you know, oh look, there's someone dressed like, you know, Terminator over there, he was talking away, and he goes, oh, there's Will. And about 20 meters away, the first time I see him in person, Will Smith, and he's just this glorious human being, and he's just talking away to the crew guys. He leaves, he walks over to us, and my first interaction with Will Smith is he walks over, does that to the Sergeant Major, and then goes, how are you, sir? And I'm like, I tried to keep, every part of my body was like jumping out of his skin. I was like, keep composed, you bastard. I'm like, hello, mate. You know? But, and then later on, about 2 hours later, once they'd wrapped for the day, I was staying there looking at the monitors, just taking it all in. Everyone sort of walked away. And I was just standing there. And then Will just walks out of nowhere, and he comes over, he's like, what's up, man? Take a seat. I was like, oh, it's cool, I don't want it. He's like, no, man, no. And he sits down, he's like, take a seat. And you know those like film chairs where the wooden ones you pull out?
Yeah, and it's got the backing on it.
The names on the back of it, and he sits down, and he just sits there, and he's like, how you doing, man? And I'm like, I said, I'm great, I'm blah, blah, blah. And he's just like, okay, all right, just listening. Every question he asked, he wanted the answer for. You know, he cared. Yeah. And he's laughing and he made me feel welcome.
Oh, that's great.
And but then I was watching him whenever that's when he wasn't on set.
Yeah.
But when it came time for him to be on set, everything about him was different.
Yeah.
Like from before he walked onto it, everything, his walk, his physical presence, and just being able to watch an icon and one of your own personal idols on set.
Yeah.
That was something else for me. And then, getting to hang out with him and know them on a personal level, and actually being welcomed to see someone who's at the top of their game go, you're a kid from another country having a go at acting. You're not a big role in our film. We're the leads. I've done, you know, like Will's career being like, done this, the list goes on.
Yeah.
But to meet some kid and go,
and still have that same respect.
how you doing?
Yeah.
Come in, let's have a chat.
Yeah.
That means the world to the one that's, you know, trying to have a crack.
Yeah.
And you know, so that's something I will always be grateful for, and that's something I would always like to try and impart. Like, I'm very thankful for everything I've been able to do. Yeah. But if someone would ever come up to me that's just starting out, I want to just make them feel as welcome as I felt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was cool. So was your question, who would I ultimately like to work with?
Yeah.
Or from Home and Away?
No, ultimately.
I've got a list. Can I narrow it to 5?
Sure.
Okay. One, I would love to work with Tom Hardy.
Mm-hmm.
He is an absolute weapon. Leonardo DiCaprio. Obviously, there's a couple of icons of the screen that I would love to have worked with, but aren't here anymore, like Heath Ledger, Paul Walker.
Right.
God, you know what? Like, working with someone like Margot Robbie would be amazing, because she's just carved this incredible career path. Mm-hmm. But you know what? There's a few people I've been thankful to work with that I would love to work with again. So, like Guy Pearce. I've worked with him, and he's amazing, and so working with him would be amazing. But Todd Lassance, he would be also in that list. So we worked together on Home and Away for 3 years, and I've said to Todd, and I'll say it to anyone who will listen, that I felt some of my best stuff ever was whenever I was in a scene with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a brilliant actor, but he also brings out the best of everyone around him, and I love that. And so he's so freaking talented and on the ball. He's very witty. He's very he just understands things, and it's one of those actors where like I know him personally, obviously, but I also go, how the hell are you not like a Hollywood superstar from like when you see someone's talent? So I would love to work with Todd again and more. So I've got those people, but also I go, he's also on that list for me.
We watched you in Blacksite together just
right.
recently.
Sick.
So that was going to be one of my questions. How was that shooting that? Obviously it was female director, Sophia Banks, and it was filmed on the Goldie, so that's awesome as well.
Sick.
But it was filmed during COVID, is that right? Or just after COVID?
A bit of both, actually. Like I filmed The Possessed in the same studio a couple of months before that, and that was during the peak of COVID. And then, look, we still had to do that stuff every day, like the temperature, the COVID testing, all that kind of stuff. The masks, and then as soon as you're on set, you know, take them off, all that kind of stuff. But look, it was what it was, you know. And to be in this industry, you've got to be very you just have to adapt, and that's just one of those things. It's like, okay, how do we change up this? All right, we're going to do that from now on. Sweet, no worries. And Sophia was great. She was I think it was her first film that she's directed as well.
Debut, I think.
Which is a big ask when you're having someone like Jai Courtney, Jason Clarke, Michelle Monaghan.
Yes.
Amazing.
A big cast.
They're so talented, and all three of them have such a massive list of credits to their names. So look, to handle all that takes a lot. So, and I haven't actually seen Blacksite yet.
What?
No, I haven't seen it. So.
Oh my gosh, and you're ripping the questions out of our mouth, because that was going to be another question.
All right.
Is, do you sit down with your family or your girlfriend and be like, let's watch, you know, Tomorrow When the War Began? Or like, do you ever watch your shows back or your movies?
No, not really. Like, that's such a funny question, eh?
I'm so curious about that.
No, for sure. Like, when it first gets released, definitely. It's
watch it.
Which was hilarious when Underbelly came out on TV, because Underbelly was such a, you know, Underbelly as a show is so great, but it's also so gritty. In my first episode, I had a sex scene towards the end of the show. And so had
Mum, Dad,
uncles, aunties, cousins, Nana, Pop, the whole, like, everyone was there. And they thought it was, like, they could see it coming. And then all of a sudden, like, Mum thought that was going to be it, so she's turned away, and then she's turned back because she thought it was finished. And she's turned to the screen as it was the peak of it. She's like,
shit. That's my son.
Yeah. It was hilarious. But look, when a project comes out, it's great. I've got like Mum's brother and sister and all my cousins and everything. We all just get together and watch it, and they're a very supportive bunch. So so that's great. But when it comes to rewatching, I don't like. It's funny, like I don't mind doing it, but I don't know whether it's like how do I even describe this? You know, sometimes where you go, I don't want to seem like a knob, going, hey, watch this of mine. So sometimes my girlfriend's like, I never got to see this episode of that show that you did. Can we watch it? And I'm like, are you sure? Like, and so okay, cool. But I'll sit back going, because then she's seeing something for the first time. And I want to watch her reactions more than I'm watching that, because I'm like, oh, I know what's coming up. And I'm like, okay, how are you reacting? But there's been a couple of times where like free-to-air TV's put on Tomorrow When the War Began. And that's been really cool, because you just flick it on, or like on Foxtel, you click it and it'll say like, you know, Channel 10, Tomorrow When the War Began. I'm like, oh, crap. All right, so I'll put it on and be like, it takes me back. Look, if it's on, then hell yeah. And some, like, there's been times where I've been wanting to see a certain scene of Home and Away, so I'll go on YouTube and try and find it. Just to see, and then it is cool visiting that, because being a working actor in this job, in this industry is hard enough as it is. So when you get the chance to reflect on a project that you've been fortunate enough to be part of, it's quite a nice feeling.
And you've recently done The Possessed, as you said, so you've delved into horror a little bit. Obviously we know you from soaps and, you know, action and things like that. Is there a genre or any type of experience in the acting world that you would like to experience that you haven't?
I love that question.
Yeah, like CGI, comedy, I don't know,
Look,
romance.
Imagine doing something like Avatar. That would be
Nice.
sick. Or doing something like Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon, where you're riding a dragon or something like that.
Yeah,
So
that's your goals.
Oh, okay. So I've got 2 dream roles. Okay, but then seeing something like House of the Dragon, imagine playing like a Targaryen dragon rider. It would be so sick. Yeah. You see, that'd just be insane. But my 2 dream roles, one would be a biopic and one would be fiction. So the biopic would be Steve Irwin, because he's an idol of mine, and that would be if I was to play a real life person. I would love to be able to portray
Considered
Steve
for
Irwin.
that, yeah.
Yeah, considered for Steve Irwin. Yep. And also, if I was to play a fictional character, my favourite book series is a Matthew Riley series called. It starts by 7 Ancient Wonders, and then it goes on. So it's a character called Jack West Jr.
Okay.
So it's a worldwide popular book series, and anyway, so for anyone that reads the Matthew Riley series, Jack West Jr. is the man. But yeah, look, in saying that, when we're just talking about to do either Avatar or Game of Thrones or something like that,
Yeah.
sign me up.
No worries. And do you have other roles coming up? Like, have you auditioned and been booked for anything else that we should be looking out for?
I've got a little day shooting on Land of Bad, which is the new Liam Hemsworth Russell Crowe film. So that's actually Saturday now, so it's on Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.
It comes out Monday.
Oh no, I'm going to be shooting on Monday.
You shoot Monday,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So I'm going to be chatting with Russell tomorrow, and then I'll be on set having a little line or two in the thing.
In that? Yeah, that's
So I get
exciting.
to come in and say my lines to Russell. I'm like, Russell Crowe, man,
Yeah.
such a weapon.
So good. They're hurrying us on.
Oh, are they?
You're so popular, Lincoln.
Gonna stay. We're chatting. Oh no.
I'm sorry. for
No.
rambling on.
But so there's that. But I'm just back on the audition circuit. Like, the thing about this industry is it's so great when you're working, but it's one of those things where it's just like that, and it's taking the euphoric feeling that when you have worked to try and keep that motivation up when you're not, and when you're trying to go for an audition and someone you're getting turned down for auditions, or you make the final 2 for a role, or like I've been making sort of final 2, final 3 for roles lately, but no dice. But you just got to keep that
Keep going.
Yeah, exactly.
Something will stick. Yeah.
It's just persistence in this game,
Yeah.
and so over the years people have said, what advice can you give me if I'm entering the industry? And it's just persistence.
Yep.
But then I've got to take that myself.
Yeah.
And so sometimes we can dish out advice, but then sometimes if we have to take it, it can be a little bit, take us a second or 2 to get that. So I'm just back on the audition trail.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we see you on our screen soon. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me today.
Thank you. No, thanks for your time. This is bloody awesome. So cheers, legends.